When we talk about the sun, we have to know what even is light. And light is none other than electrification or electricity. So a lightning bolt is electricity, which is light. It's visible, audible, tangible. And magnetism carries electricity. So when we talk about the sun, it produces the rainbow. We can see that it's composed of infrared all the way to ultraviolet. So that's the electromagnetic spectrum of visible light. But there's a whole electromagnetic spectrum of light that we can't see. Visible light is just a little part. There's still X-ray, there's gamma, for instance. We can't see X-ray, X radiation. It's all radiation because magnetism is radiation. So what an atom is, it has an electron, which means you can see atoms, like an electron microscope, because you have to look for the electron. The electron is moving, and if you move something so much, it would make it seem like it's physical. So if the electron stopped moving, for example, this would vanish it would collapse to its plane, just like the galactic plane of the Milky Way. Yes, that which is above correlates to that which is below. Now, what you can do is you can just believe that atoms are the way they're proposed with our current models, that there's a proton, neutron, and electron. But if you knock a neutron out of the center, why does it become a proton? Because there is no neutron, proton, electron. It's all one, and we just call it names, like we say the top of the paper and the bottom of this paper. It's just paper. Now, the idea is the earth and heart. Your heart produces your electromagnetic field. That's why the earth is the plane of inertia. The plane of earth is the plane of inertia. A hearth is the name of a furnace or a fireplace where you put your logs to burn, because a fireplace is burning. So this is your core corazon, and it produces the electromagnetic spectrum, infrared at the bottom, ultraviolet at the top, and this is the neutral point. This is the neutron, that's the proton, that's the electron. You can actually look for yourself at home. Ken Wheeler, thank you so much. Theory apophysis. He made a magnetic field viewing device. 2 optically flat pieces of glass, put liquid holding iron between that, so it's ferrofluid. It's iron filings suspended in fluid. You compress it between 2 optically flat pieces of glass, and what you will find is you will be able to see the magnetic field. You basically have a little Milky Way galaxy in your hand. It's white lines and black lines, counter-rotating fields of magnetism, just like this. You have right radiation going out and gravitation. What we call gravitation is actually mutual mass acceleration towards a point. There's not really a north and south pole. There's not one north, one south, because if you break down a magnet into a million pieces, you have a million north poles, million south poles. So all you have is pressure mediation. You have counter-rotating fields acting against each other. Now, here's the important part. Electricity is measured by electrical resistance. That basically you have dielectricity and magnetism. One is rest, one is motion. So you have left turning, right turning, one going out, one going in. That's what causes a magnet to repel and attract. So when these 2 fields come together, they produce electricity, which is light. Light is produced at the center, that's El Sol. So you have Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, then Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. The Sun is El Sol, it's right here. And that's light, sonoluminescence. Sound creates light. So what is light? It's just an ether perturbation. Light is not a particle that travels through a medium, because if you have light, and if light goes through a glass cup with water, it slows down, and then the light particle that you think is a particle, a photon, how does it go through the cup of glass, slow down, and then speed back up again? It's breaking the law of conservation of energy. What it's actually doing is light doesn't break the law of waves. It acts like a wave. That's why it speeds up again, because it never slowed down, because light is not a particle. It acts like a wave because it is a wave. There's ether all around us. Now check this out.
The ether is what everything is made out of, such as the oxygen around this glass, the glass itself, and the water in the glass. The water in the glass is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. H2O means 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. The hydrogen atom is made up of 1 proton, 1 neutron, 1 electron. This means that it is the most fundamental particle of the universe. Everything else is compounded versions of hydrogen, such as carbon 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, and oxygen 8 protons, 8 neutrons, 8 electrons. So light not being a particle, but being magnetism or radiation itself, because magnetism carries electricity, therefore radiation carries light. What we call light is actually illumination. But anyways, light slows down when it enters water because it doesn't enter the water only. The light itself is radiation. This radiation is stimulating or exciting the atoms inside of the field itself. So all the atoms within the field of the light will be excited and thus vibrate at different speeds. So the light particle seems to slow down as it enters the water, but it speeds up as it leaves because it never actually left. The frequency of the light is exciting the atoms within and without of the cup, and even the cup itself. So all the atoms, the oxygen and the glass and the water, are all being excited. The atoms are all just vibrating at the speeds that they are able to. It's called the elasticity of the medium. Thank you, Ken Wheeler. Everything is capacitance, resistance, dielectric permittivity, and magnetic permeability. Everything is constructive and destructive interference, magnetism and dielectricity, the attracting and repelling forces of a magnet, the creator and eraser of space, the torus and the hyperbola. What are the simplex binaries of life? Magnetism and dielectricity. They are the consubstantiality of everything that exists. They are the co-eternal principles of reality, spirit and matter, which make up the conjugate geometry of the universe, the toroid and hyperboloid.
Who was the discoverer of the concept of an electron was J.J. Thomson. He discovered the concept of an electron, said it wasn't an electron, it was dielectric discharge, which is the release of dielectricity. We have to know what dielectricity is if you want to talk about what light is. If you don't know about magnetism, how are you going to understand electricity? If you don't know about dielectricity, how are you going to understand about magnetism? That's what it all goes down to. The Egyptians said all is atum, and what are your atoms? Nothing but counter-rotating fields of magnetism. It's the creator of space and the eraser of space. The creator of space is the donut, and it's the M for McDonald's and the W for woman, man and woman. This is polarity, north and south pole separated by a plane of inertia. This is the dynamics of electricity. Electricity is measured in cycles per second. What is light? It's electricity. What is electricity? It's literally measured in cycles per second. So light is no different than the ether in dynamic circular polarization. What is the ether? It's magnetism and dielectricity. You have ether that wants to rest, and you have ether that wants to move. Magnetism is ether in motion, dielectricity, ether at rest. Electricity is rest against motion. So electricity is measured in cycles per second, so it literally goes from neutral to positive, neutral, negative, neutral, positive, neutral, negative. Electricity travels like this in a circle, okay? That's what it's doing. Look at this. How when the sun rises at 6 a.m., this is on the equinox, which means equal night. When the daytime is equal to the nighttime, when there's 6 hours of day, 6 hours at night, which means the sun has to rise at 6 a.m. and sets at 6 p.m. That means the sun is directly above your head at 12 p.m. and it's supposed to be across the other side of the world at 12 a.m. at midnight. Now this is Aries, which spells arise. This is the crab, goes side to side. This is Libra, where it calibrates, comes back down, because I said it goes neutral, positive, neutral, negative. This is negative, Cabra, and the goat literally travels up to the top of the mountain, and that's the mountain goat. And now the idea is you're doing this now. This is what we're doing. On a large scale, the sun is electricity, and it's doing that electromagnetic spectrum. And look what the sun does on a huge scale. It goes from spring, summer, fall, winter. Yes, that circle is all, this is all there is, guys. The electron it comes out of the center to the top and here back down. So it's neutral, positive, neutral, negative. And now when you do a bunch of these like that, you end up getting this torus field, this tree. So yes, we've replicated a black hole on Earth using a supercell created by Ken Wheeler on his YouTube. You can look at a magnetic field by yourself and determine what atoms are and what magnetism is, because if you break a magnet down to its atoms, if you have a magnet and break it down to 1,000,000 pieces, each piece is a magnet. So therefore every atom is a magnet. Every atom has a north and south pole. This is exactly what it looks like. The entire universe is like this. If you read the Bible literally, you're not going to find God, because God is not lost. If you take the Bible as literature, you'll find that God was always within you, and it is everything. Nikola Tesla said, thinking deeply can make you quite insane, but thinking clearly makes you quite sane. Thank you, everyone.
All is atom.